Good morning, everyone. I know that was a great song we were playing, but I think we're ready to get our presentation started. Welcome to the CSU and UC Event Professionals Network Hot Topic for May 2025. My name is Monica Dahl. I'm at Stanislaus State University, and our topic this month is professional development. Using LinkedIn to expand your network. Today, you will discover how to use LinkedIn, one of the most widely used social media platforms for work. The presentation will provide you with practical tips to leverage LinkedIn to increase your network and potentially increase the visibility of your events. Of course, we'll have a question and answer session, so please feel free to add your questions to the Q&A area in Zoom, and we'll get back to those questions later. Before we get started with introductions, if you haven't already, please mark your calendars for the CSU plus UC EPN annual conference. It's a great time, and this year it's scheduled for July 9th through the 11th at UC Berkeley. Registration is still open. We'll put that registration link in the chat for everybody, and we look forward to seeing you there. And now let's get on to our presenter for today. Ryan Zervakos is a seasoned business development professional with over 20 years of experience in strategic sales, partnership management, and workforce development. With 9 years of experience at LinkedIn, he has a deep understanding of how to maximize LinkedIn's potential to support workforce development and higher education initiatives. Now, as a consultant specializing in LinkedIn.com, Ryan focuses on helping academic institutions bridge the skill gap between students and the workforce. Passionate about driving access to meaningful career opportunities, Ryan is dedicated to empowering institutions with the knowledge and tools to better prepare their students for successful careers. His collaborative approach and commitment to fostering long-term relationships have consistently delivered transformative results in education and workforce readiness. So now, Ryan, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Monica. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this conversation with you all today. And like Monica said, I really want this to be for you all. So please drop any questions that you have in the Q&A. I want to make sure that I get to any questions that you may have. Excuse me. As Monica said, I worked for LinkedIn for 9 years. Primarily, my role was a sales role, and I worked with the California community colleges, CSUs, UCs, USC, and Stanford. And when I was there, right, what I found out very quickly, first of all, when I got there, I realized that I didn't know how to use LinkedIn very well, which I needed to fix that quickly. Working for LinkedIn, and I've realized that I had it all wrong before I went to LinkedIn. Before I went to LinkedIn, I thought, you know what? I'm only really on LinkedIn when I need a job. My LinkedIn profile is just an extension of my resume, so I just had basically my resume up there, and I would network from time to time when I needed it. And when I got to LinkedIn, I realized that that misses most of the point with the platform. So what I want to do today is I want to cover some things that you may not know about the LinkedIn platform to make you feel maybe more comfortable with it. And I want to cover the areas I think you might want to touch on your personal profile and how it will make a difference for the experience that you have and the experience that people have when they, not necessarily the experience, but what they see when they get to your profile. And then we'll talk a little bit about networking, and we'll also talk about content. So those are the things that we're going to talk about today. And the crux of the difference where I come from, or what my opinion is that we really should be thinking about LinkedIn more as a place for us to storytell about our professional lives and a little bit of personal lives. Like that is really the huge difference when it comes to LinkedIn. My fundamental understanding before and after was that LinkedIn is a place for us to actually tell our story and be authentic and be true to ourselves and give a little bit more background about who we are and what we do. And also our subject matter expertise. I mean, one of the things that everyone on this call is a subject matter expert in your area, right? And so with LinkedIn, you have the ability to actually start putting that out there and letting people know. So let's start with a couple of things that you might not know about LinkedIn. one thing I think is always important to start with is that LinkedIn is the only social media platform that I know of. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. But nobody's told me so far that I'm wrong about this. LinkedIn is the only social media platform that eliminates fake profiles. So they eliminate 99% of fake profiles. This is important for a few different reasons, in my opinion. Number one, what it means is that you're dealing when you're growing your network or when you're posting content and people are commenting, it's their real self, right? And the reason why that's important is because when you can hide behind a veil of anonymity, that brings out, I think, the worst in a lot of people. I think we would all agree that when one posts on TikTok or when one posts on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, or Facebook or Meta, whatever, one can get an onslaught of harassment. Now, I'm not saying that LinkedIn is harassment free, but I am saying it is a fraction of what you're going to get on other social media platforms. And so that's important to know that there's a reason why you don't see a green check mark by anybody's name. It's because everybody's name automatically has one. It's already basically verified. And the other thing that is important to know is that LinkedIn only allows 3 direct messages per month if you're not connected with that person. And what I mean three for in general, like not 3 per person, but 3 in general. And the reason that they do that is again for the harassment and bullying. So when you reframe, when we start talking about this ability for you on LinkedIn to reframe the narrative and um, to put yourself out there maybe in a more authentic and vulnerable way, I want you to hopefully feel more comfortable doing that because on LinkedIn you can be yourself and not be subject to harassment. So that's super important. Now, let's talk about the profile. The LinkedIn profile is oftentimes what I see is most people will upload their LinkedIn profile and will upload their resume to the LinkedIn profile. And in the about section, it'll be basically like a cover letter. It will be very, very professional and to the point. And that's okay, right? That's not the end of the world. That is not a bad thing. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't start answering that question whenever you're meeting somebody or whenever you get to know somebody. It's like, tell me about yourself, right? That's what people want to know. They want to know the intangibles. And when you're communicating, not so communicating, when you're growing your network, when someone is reaching out to you, and if you this is whether it's on LinkedIn or any other social media platform, if you're like me, when somebody reaches out to you, you don't know, you're probably going to check out their profile first before you accept them as a connection, right? You're probably going to want to know, who is this person? Why is she reaching out to me? Or why is he reaching out to me? With LinkedIn, it's the same thing. And right now, when you're doing those connection requests, all they're seeing is like resume you more than likely. And so what I want to do today now is pivot to the profile and show you some profiles and talk about how you can actually take the profile and make it more authentic, make it your own, and storytell in a way that you maybe haven't thought of before. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And you should all be able to see this profile of Ava right here. If for some reason you don't, please just let me know.
It's perfect,
Uh,
Ryan. Thank you.
no problem. And before I move on, does anybody have any questions about what I've covered so far? It's just starting, but I want to make sure I open the floor for any questions if you all have them. If not, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because oftentimes on Zoom you can't see what it's not as big on your end. Okay, so this is Ava, and I want to focus a couple of things on her profile. First of all, the profile picture. You all probably know this, but a profile picture is super important when it comes to growing your network. You grow your network 7 times more quickly with a profile picture than without. Um, it does not have to be a professional pic. We have very, very capable camera equipment in our hands, y'all. Just put your camera on selfie mode and take the picture, and it should be just like Ava's here. It really should just be a headshot. 70% of traffic on LinkedIn is on a mobile device. And so when you think about your headshot, oftentimes I see people with too much of their body in there, and you can't really see your face when you're on a mobile device. The background photo, this is super important too. This is an opportunity to start building your brand. What I see a lot of professionals that are in higher education do is they might take a really great photo online that's online of your campus, right? I love the idea of marketing your campus. And when we think of marketing and more than just marketing, when we think of branding, right? Creating your own professional brand is what I really hope that you all can do with LinkedIn from here on out. If you want to change your profile and go that direction. And when we think about branding, it's more than just where have we worked and where are we working. It's about what do we get? What do you get when what do you bring to the table, right? And um, this idea of creativity and this idea of putting yourself out there in a more authentic way. It starts also with the background photo. The headline is another opportunity for you all to maybe think outside of the box. Like what Ava's done here is put identifier of opportunities and seller of solutions instead of just putting salesperson, right? Or if you're in HR or if you're in finance, a lot of people will just put their title here. And that doesn't do a really good job of, again, storytelling. So you have an opportunity here to do more than just say, here's where I work and here's what I do. What I would love to see here is something like what Ava's done, or maybe it's a quote that you love, or maybe it is like 4 or 5 words that, power words that you'd use to describe you. Something like that that's going to give the reader a little bit more of an understanding of your personality. That's where you can start. Now, let's go to the about section. And I'm going to stay in the about section for a few minutes, and I'm going to show you a few different profiles. And the profiles I'm going to show you are of people earlier in their career, but that's okay. At the end of the day, all of us, I think, have an opportunity to be a little bit more authentic on this platform and give people more background information about you. So you can see here, she says that a marketing major that joined the dance, or rather the tango, that is sales. She goes back and says what her goal is with sales, and where she wants to go with her career. She says she doesn't claim perfection at every run through, but she practices. She does hereby practice that bear results. She talks about taking the trials and creativity and trust and dedication and reliability. She talks about her background on what she did with her organization as underrepresented, and then where she wants to go in the future. And this is a really good example of a profile that is a little bit more than just, here's what I do. It's giving you personality, and I really think that's important. Let me show you Tammy's profile here as well. So Tammy's profile, she works now at Google. You can see her background photo and her profile picture. Again, these are perfect, right? Here she went a little bit deeper with her storytelling. She said, after moving from Vietnam at 8 years old, I honed my English skills through an unlikely tutor, Harry Potter. And she talks about igniting a lifelong passion for storytelling and its power to connect diverse communities through technology. She goes on to talk a little bit about more about what she does. She's driven revenue for growth for nails. She launched a mental health startup. She's empowering brands to forge meaningful connections with their audience, just as Harry Potter sparked her own American dream. And what I love about this is instead of saying I'm a marketer, right? It's like I'm empowering brands to forge meaningful connections with their audience, just as what this happened to me. And I feel strongly that in higher education, you have an opportunity to really dive deeper into why you're working in higher education, right? Working in higher education is giving back. I firmly believe that, right? All of the students that are going through your institutions are working hard to get a degree and get to the next level. And especially in the CSUs and UCs, where a lot of your students are first gen students, underrepresented students, lower on the income scale, they're going through your school to move up the socioeconomic ladder. And that's something that you can talk about, right? Like, why are you working at your job? and why is it fulfilling to you? That is what I kind of want you to think of when you're in this about section. So if you frame it in a, if I were to put it in like a framework, I would love to have the framework be a hook, right? Something that is going to grab the reader's attention instead of just a typical summary section, right? A hook, a little bit about your past, a little bit about your present, and a little bit about what you like to do outside of work and work. That's what I think a really nice framework is for your about section. My brother actually has a really, really good one. So I'll show you his right now so you can see what I'm talking about. So again, the hook. He's the ultimate generalist in a world where technology can specialize in anything. He's also in sales. So he says, professionally, my job is absurd. I get to build relationships with great people who care about what they do. We get to win together. He talks about identifying, creating situations where both customer and company can grow. He talks about, navigating success and failure and struggle in an open, authentic way. He goes on to talk about personally, he's a lifelong learner, jumped into a million different things. And finally, he says he's learning to play guitar and hopes of one day playing blues solo like John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and is addicted to learning new things. And the one thing I can guarantee you about the profile that I'm showing you is that they start telling that story and giving you more insight into someone's personality. And so that is fundamentally a different thing than you've probably been told, or you've probably seen, or you've probably done on LinkedIn. Because most of us are thinking of LinkedIn as it's so professional. I just have to be businessy and it's got to be a cover letter. And I want you all to like throw that out the window. You can be professional and you can storytell. You can be professional and you can be authentic. The two are not mutually exclusive. And the more that you are this authentic self, the more the more LinkedIn will work for you. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a minute. Does anyone have any questions about framing the profile in this way for the about section? Well, I'll take a second.
Ryan, I really liked the way that you framed it and showed us relevant examples of what is a good profile. Um, I love that you prefaced your brother's profile with right now he has a good profile.
Exactly, exactly. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is the about section and the top of the section. I want to show you the experience section, and I'm gonna push a little bit on what you've probably heard or probably done with your profile in the experience section, and that is with this. I'll show you this profile. Um, all right, so this is Chelsea, and I showed this even though it's a her about section here is for an internship, and all of us are way past internships, but that's okay because we can frame our work experience in the same way. And that is to storytell a little bit about what you've done or what you're doing in a way that is more compelling. Now, when you upload your resume into the profile, that's a good thing, right? I think that's a good baseline to have. That is bullet points, it's short and sweet. But what we have to understand is that a resume is designed to do one thing, right? A resume is designed to weed people out. It's designed to say, all right, does, Phyllis have the right skills for this job? Yes or no? It is not designed to be like, tell me about what Phyllis did. Did she enjoy the job, right? What was culture like? It doesn't do that. It would be weird if you put all of this information that's here on Chelsea's profile on a resume. Weird. When you put this on a LinkedIn profile, not weird. And so what I want you to think about is how you can actually start storytelling through your experience section, especially on your campus, because I'm sure that you have great stories about why you work on campus and the fulfillment that you get from working on campus and the impact that you have on campus. And so that's what I want you all to think about when you're talking about your experience here. And it can be in the form of a paragraph, right? C says, I interned at NBC with hopes of gaining exposure to the entertainment industry. I wanted to work there because of its summer company culture. So instead of saying, I wanted to work there, you're currently here. I'm working here because of this. the culture at the CSUs is so powerful. Did you know this is the impact that the CSU system has? Or did you know that this is the impact the UC system has on first-gen students? Or did you know how many veterans come through that are returning veterans that are coming through our system and moving on, right? That's stuff that is branding, and it's powerful information that most people don't realize. I guarantee you most people don't recognize how much the campuses do when we talk about increasing people's economic opportunity. And then when you tie that into the culture of what life is like on campus and why you like doing what you're doing on campus, what it does now is it actually gives people insight into who you truly are, into instead of a resume, which does not do any of that. A resume doesn't do, and it's not really meant to do that. And so what I want you to understand is it's okay to do this. And you may be thinking, well, nobody's going to read every single word of your resume. And that's true because it's not compelling. It's boring, right? It's, nobody reads the dictionary, right? And I'm not saying everybody's going to read your profile either, but they will if it's more compelling, right? They will 100% if you're storytelling, you're going to have people doing a little bit more reading on there. And so the whole point of me hopefully not belaboring this point, but just letting you know it's okay to be more of a storyteller is that that will make an impact, especially when you're growing your network. And if you start posting content out there, people, when you're posting content, what happens is people like, oh, who is this person that's posting content? Then go to your profile and they're going to see more about you and your background and what you love about where you work. And I think that's a powerful thing to tell. Okay, any questions about that?
I have a question, Ryan, and if anyone else does, please jump in. But how can you optimize your LinkedIn profile to attract other event professionals or collaborators to engage with?
Yeah, I think that's where you have the opportunity within that about section. And then also I was trying to find here the featured section. So let me show you, I'll show you on mine since I've got the featured section going. Um, when you're posting content, if you start posting content, you have the ability to basically highlight content that you want to share or things that you've done. So, for example, this was a post I did a few years ago when I was up at UC Santa Barbara. And when you're posting this content, it's more easily found when it's on your featured section. And that's how you're going to get more people to find you, is really by posting about events, talking about what events you have on campus, also networking with other people that are in the event space, right? And then um, raising awareness for their events as well. And so basically thinking of LinkedIn as a social media platform that's going to be tailored to your profession and where you're going in your profession. And so that's how you're going to have more people find you. One, post more content about events and show your subject matter expertise, share other people's other events across the CSU-UC system, and then feature some of those things in your featured section. And here's how easy it is to add the featured section, by the way. So this is my profile specifically. You just go to this featured section and you click on plus and you can add a post. And what this does is it goes through all of the posts that you've done and you just pick, okay, I want this one and this one and this one. You can add a link. So let's say you have an event website on campus. You can add that URL right in your featured section. So whenever somebody comes to your profile, they can click on that and it'll be your feature, the first one. And they can see all of the events that you have coming up. Free. This costs no money to do. You can add different media. So anytime you're doing an event, I think you should be broadcasting that on LinkedIn. You should be adding those pictures on LinkedIn. And if it's like a major event, put that in your featured section. Um, and then you can also add content specifically from your profile, but this is only with premium, so we'll take that away. I don't like to talk about premium because I want to show you all stuff that doesn't require premium. Is that helpful?
That's very helpful. Thank you. And then, in your opinion, with your experience with LinkedIn, is it better to connect with people in your industry or to focus more on local and regional professionals?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. All right, so so my opinion is that you should connect with anyone, and here's why. Right, we're living in a different age. When I was younger and I had hair on top of my head, there was no internet. All right, I know it's hard to believe. I actually used to have hair, but I did. And when there was no internet, our first degree network was really important. We had to get as many people and shake their hands and have them get to know us and spread that message. Now, in social media and in online world, it's different, and it's different because of the power of the exponential power of the network. So if I have 500 people in my first degree connection, even if I don't know them very well, right? Each one of those has 500 in their network. Well, that's 250,000 in my second degree. And if each one of those have 500, I think that's some, I'll do the math. I should know. It's like 5 million or some crazy number, right? You never know, Monica, if you're connected to me, for example, like you don't know if you're connected to me, that you're also connected to hundreds and hundreds of professionals in higher education. I work for LinkedIn, but I've connected with a ton of people in higher education. And so my thing is like grow your network outside of what you would think. And again, it ties back to the initial thing I said where people are real. It's not a fake profile. So when you're adding people, you're probably not going to get somebody saying something or doing something dumb. It's just so that's why I think it's okay. And I say yes, include them in your network. And oh, by the way, if they do say something dumb, you block them and you never hear from them again. They can't go and create another profile. I mean, that has happened. I do coach a lot of young women in college, and unfortunately, there's still dumb people out there. But I've had them say, look, I had one person ask me on a date. I blocked him, never heard from him again. So that's why I think it's okay to grow your network outside of your profession because it's safer and the secondary network is huge.
That's excellent. Do you know, like, how early should you promote your events if you're going to promote them through LinkedIn? And is it better to do, like you were showing us the featured area, the videos, the photos, behind the scenes? Like, what do you recommend to get the most views?
Yeah, that's another great question. So it's important to know that posting here on your feed is super important. I think you post it on your feed, and you also are going to want to do that and put it in your featured section. So you can always rotate through your featured section, but I think putting it on your featured section is great. Um, to answer your question, the way that posts work is if you only write copy, right? You're only writing copy, and you add, let's say, I'll show you in my feed. So let's say this one right here, right? So you're writing copy and you're putting a, a picture. Well, this actually has a video, so that's not a good example. This is a decent example, right? It's just a regular picture, right? It's you've pulled a picture off and you've done it. It's a marketing slick. Okay. That's going to get X number of people looking at it. It's a decent post, and that's great. Here's the interesting thing, Monica. If you do what these ladies did and take a selfie, you get 5 times more views. You get 5 times more views if you take a selfie. It sounds crazy, but it's more engaging content when they see you. So you can think of it that way. It's like, how can I, when I'm doing an event, is there a way I can, let's say it's a commencement event, right? Is there a way I can take some authentic pics of some of the graduates that are going through and they're like what they're doing, right? 5 times more views. If you went the next step and did a video, you usually get 20 times more views. And here's the other thing videos, because they get more engagement, what is LinkedIn's goal? It is to have what they call it EQM, engaged quality members. Engaged quality members means we want Monica to be on the platform as long as possible. And if she's watching a video, she's on the platform a lot longer than if she's just scrolling through the feed. So what they do is then they leave this video up here a lot longer. So to answer your question, videos are the best. Do a video and it's great. And it doesn't have to be a professional video. In fact, the less professional, the better, right? It's like more authentic. If you feel confident enough to flip on your phone and just talk about it, and you can even, it can be maybe the same stuff that's in your copy, right? But it's like, here's what I'm doing. Come join us. You'd be amazed at how much of an impact. And it might not on the first, but if you start consistent, this is the other thing, Monica, it's consistency with posts. Consistently putting yourself out there, you're going to start getting traction. Here's an interesting statistic for you. The percentage of LinkedIn members, there are a billion members worldwide, the percentage of LinkedIn members that post once a week, and I'm talking about their own content, I'm not talking about, liking or resharing, I'm talking about their own content, is 0.05%. It's 0.05%. So while it seems like there's a ton of content on there, it's not coming from a ton of different people. So that's how you're going to raise your brand awareness.
And this is really helpful because I know I'm in the larger percentage that posts nothing or
Not
so
judging.
this is a great education for all of us, I think, and relevant to what we do.
Yeah, and I don't post nearly as often as I should. But if you all are in the event space, I think you have a lot of content you can put, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can do. And this is also where I think if you are in a network of other event planners throughout the system that you're in, right? DUC or CSU system, I feel like you all should be on a network together. I know you're in a group together. You should be resharing everyone else's content on the regular, right? Even though you're at Stanislaus and somebody else is at Cal State LA, you don't know who's in your network. You don't know. You're raising awareness, and it doesn't cost you anything, and it only takes a few seconds to click on repost. Now, by the way, when you click on repost, always repost with your thoughts. Add something to it. And the reason why is because when you just do this, LinkedIn basically, I don't even know why they have this here, to be honest with you. They in the algorithm, it's the same as a like. The like is the bottom line. Like, so what you all need to understand, oops, I didn't mean to push on Cassandra here. You probably know this because of social media by now, but I'll explain it really quickly. When let's say Monica and I are connected, right? And you post content, Monica, all I have to do is like that content, and then now it is on my feed for everybody in my network to see. That's why the power of social media is so huge, right? What you have to understand is that if I just like this, then it's on my feed for everyone that I know to see for a very short amount of time. But if I actually click on repost with my thoughts, LinkedIn elevates that to be as if it was a post I created on my own and keeps it on the top of my feed for longer so more people are going to see it. I hope that's helpful.
That is helpful. Do you have an example, like once your event is over, is it successful strategy to post an event recap on LinkedIn, or something like that at the end of the event?
Oh yeah, 100%. You definitely want to post an event recap. Yeah. And that's where you've taken a lot of great pictures of the event, right? And you've done a carousel just like this, right? I mean, this is a really good, I don't even know who this person is, but you've got really great copy here. This is a really good post, right? She tags jobs for the future. She's okay, it looks like she's leaving this job. So, but this is a good example, right? Of what she's doing. She tags the company that she's going to. You can, you know, the interesting thing is people still do hashtags, but the hashtags aren't really necessary anymore. The reason why hashtags were necessary back in the day is because the back end of the system was harder to find content that you were interested in if it wasn't in your feed. And so you throw a hashtag out there. So if somebody was looking for something specific, they could search that hashtag. You can still do it, but now with AI and AI algorithms, you basically can type that into the search bar and find it. So you're finding fewer and fewer hashtags out there, but tagging people is important too. So what tagging people does, just in case, and I hope this isn't like, I'm not like, dumbing this down too much, but just in case, right? What tagging people does is it throws it up there in their notification. So if I post something out here and I want Monica to see it, I can tag her in this post. Or if I'm thinking, so when you're doing this big event, the cool thing is like, let's say you have, I hosted an event. I was part of an event a while ago for community colleges. We did an AI symposium, right? And so we did a wrap up. and you tag the chancellor of the community college was at the event. Well, we tagged the chancellor. Thank you, Chancellor Sonia, for coming. Well, maybe she's not going to read it, but you never know. What if she does read the post and she's like, "You're welcome. I was such an event." Now it goes on her feed. All of a sudden, you've gone viral. So, a 100%, you always want to do a follow up. And this is where the pictures are important and the copy is important, and tagging I don't want to say important people, but maybe the people that have a larger network in your post is super important. I'm sure most of you do that, but it is, yeah.
That's helpful. Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
It looks like we got a question in the chat about verifying your profile. And I think the verification right now, Charla, is the verification that they're doing is verifying your employment, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it was before I left, and I don't think it's changed. And the advantage of verifying your employment is really it's really more for LinkedIn. What LinkedIn would like to do is eliminate more and more of that of the fake profiles. What they would like to do is, and not only that, it's you'd be surprised. There are still people out there, Charlotte, that will be like, "I went to Harvard University," when they didn't go to Harvard University. Shocker, right? Like, I went to Cal State LA and graduated Cal State LA, and they never went to Cal State LA. And so LinkedIn is trying to figure out a way to say, okay, did you really work for Cal State LA? Because if you didn't and you can't verify that, then you shouldn't have it on your profile. And so that is the power of verifications. Yeah, that's the power of verifying. But it's a long slog. So you have to decide if that's what you want to do.
Great question. Keep them coming so that we have more discussion items for Ryan. I think we're really lucky to have him here today.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about a little bit was about growing your network. We talked about the profile. Growing your network. You all, I'm sure, have seen this, but I'm just gonna go there just in case. And I'm gonna click Cal State. Let's say Fullerton, since it's right down the street from me. Let me do this. So when you're looking for a school, all of them are on the school page. And we click on Cal State Fullerton. I'm pretty sure you all have seen this alumni tab, right? And what the alumni tab allows anyone to do is go and see who has actually gone to that school. And this is where personally I think that this I would love to see the school verified. In my opinion, I would love to see the school verified. When I was there, I was working with LinkedIn and seeing if they would actually do something like this, but they weren't. Because I think it's important for people to be able to be like, yeah, I actually went to the school. But the cool thing about the alumni tab is that it allows you to see who has gone to that school and where they're working and what they're doing and growing your network in that way. Right. And so if you want to see anybody who's working at, let's say, Disney, or if we go over here and we're saying, let's see who from Fullerton is now working at Netflix. Let's just choose Netflix. Um, it's now 70 alumni. And then you can go over here and see actually what they do with that organization. And then the cool thing down here is you come down and connect. And so the reason I'm talking about this is like growing your network. You can go over here and see Brenda, and you can then click on connect and add a note. And so what is important right now is I think it's always great to add a note. All right. And it should be short and sweet note. And really the bottom line is you're just trying to let them know why you're connecting, why you're reaching out to them. Um, it's also important because while LinkedIn is a more harassment free zone, there are definitely people you don't want to connect with. A lot of people don't want to connect with salespeople. I don't want to connect with a salesperson because I don't want to get sold. I don't want an insurance, no offense to insurance salespeople, right? I don't want to have to tell you I don't need a financial advisor, right? And so that's why you want to put something in the message. But also, if you don't have time to put in the message, and also LinkedIn has reduced the number of connection request messages you can do without premium. You can only do 5 connection requests with a message per month now. That's why it's so important to have your profile done the way we're talking about, because when you do that, more than likely they're going to click on your profile and they're going to be like, oh, you're not a salesperson. Oh, you're in events. You're working for Cal State Long Beach. I love it. Okay, cool. She's not going to harass me about buying something, right? She's not going to tell me she has a job for me that is in, Pakistan or something, right? So that's why your profile is important. And here's what you're going to do in the connection request: who you are, why you're reaching out. If you're in events and you see somebody else in events, boom. Or you're in events and you're trying to get a speaker for the event. I work, for Cal State. I noticed you're fantastic at your role. Would you be interested, in connecting for a few minutes to talk about speaking engagement, something like that? You only have 300 characters, but again, it's super important. And the other thing that you can do here is go to any company. So let's say you're working at an event on campus and you're trying to bring in um, industry professionals, right? And so let's say we can take any company. I'm just trying to think of a company off the top of my head that isn't super gigantic, but let's say it's a tech company, and it's so Alteryx. So I'm in South Orange County right now, and Alteryx is in South Orange County, right? So let's say I'm at IBC, not IBC, IBC's UCI, right? And I want to invite somebody from this tech company to come on campus and talk. Go to the People tab. It's the same as the Alumni tab. The People tab does the same thing. It tells you everybody what they've done and where they worked, and then you can go over here and go, I wonder if anybody of Alteryx has gone to UCI, right? Boom, 16 people. So now you can go down here, and these people have gone to UCI. You want somebody from Alteryx to speak at UCI, and now you can just go, boom, hey, fellow UCI alum,
That's
we would
amazing.
love to have you. Isn't that cool?
That is very, very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Because you also want a commonality, right? There, a lot of people are like, everyone's sus, like, I don't want to waste my time. But if you've gone to a school, you know the alumni pool is really huge. I mean, I was fortunate to go to USC through the Navy. That's what the only reason to go to USC is basically alumni. I mean, not the only reason, but it's one of the main reasons. And the thing with all of the campuses that are on here right now is you all have huge alumni networks. And so when you're doing outreach to get industry professionals, this is a great way to see if they've gone to your school
We have a
or they've gone to
question.
a UC or CSU. Huh?
Thank you, right. We have a question. Can you one more time show us how to get to the alumni tab?
Sure. Let's pick any school. We'll go for UCLA. Why not? Any school. So every single school has a school page. Oh, and by the way, you also saw that a lot of schools will drill down and have a business school page, right? And so those have alumni pages as well. So we go to the UCLA page and it's alumni tab. Boom. So every single school has this. This is the free page.
Yeah.
There's no cost to this. And what LinkedIn does is anyone, and so this is where the verify comes in, because anybody can say they've gone to UCLA. So if somebody lies in their profile and is like, I went to UCLA, it comes up here on the alumni tab. So that's what we're trying to, I can't say we, I'm not LinkedIn anymore. So they're trying to reduce is people lying about where they work and where they go to school. But it doesn't, but it's a fraction of a percentage. And like I said, so I went over here to Cal State Fullerton, and you've got the College of Business. This is underneath Cal State Fullerton, but you have 15,000 people that have gone to that school.
Big campus.
It's a big campus. It's a big campus.
So I want to give some time for live question and answer. So
Yeah.
is there anything else that you want to go over before we switch over to that?
No, if there are no questions, I can talk a little bit more about some other features, but yeah, I've covered everything I want to.
Wonderful. I don't see any questions in the Q&A section, but if anybody wants to ask a question directly, please just take your camera off, unmute yourself, and we can go ahead and start the Q&A. Sam has a question. Yes, Sam.
Yes, I'm curious about LinkedIn groups. What's some good strategy for which ones to follow, and any tips on kind of prioritizing that? I know that there's a ton, and a lot of them are interested, and some are more active than others. Yeah, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, the deal is that Anyone can create a group, which is great, right? It's free to create groups. Here's the benefit of joining groups. One of the main benefits of joining groups. And I'll go into to my profile so I can show you a little bit more about it. So, for example, I'm part of this Hispanic of LinkedIn Alliance. It's called HOLA. It's a Hispanic ERG, right? The cool thing about being part of the group is that even though I'm not a first degree connection to any of these people, when I'm part of the group, I can message them. So this is the one of the biggest things. So how I would approach it is I'm going to find groups that are of interest to me, either career wise or interest to me professionally. So events groups, like if you want to see what other types of people are doing with events, I love that. I'm sure there are hundreds of groups that are events groups that are not your group. I know we talked a little bit about you all creating your own group. Everybody should join that events group and be posting content into that events group. And then the other thing is, again, touching on it, is posting content with that events group. But I think this is the most powerful thing about joining a group is that you don't have to be a first degree connection. You can message any one of these people that have been into this group. And so it's pretty cool. I'm part of the alumni group. It's awesome because you can message anybody.
That's great. That's helpful. What's your recommendation for balancing like personal content through your LinkedIn to promote yourself and your personal brand versus your professional brand?
I don't think that there is a let me put it this way. I rarely see people overposting and oversharing, right? You ever this is an old school show way back in the day, but they kind of redid it here on TikTok. But basically what they did is they had an elevator full of people. There was one spot open in the elevator and everybody was facing the wrong direction. And so when the person comes in, they're looking around and they're like, wait a minute, the doors close, and almost every single person within 2 or 3 seconds, they turn and face the same direction as everybody because they get like, I can't, everybody can't be wrong, right? It's the same thing on LinkedIn, right? You're not going to see weird content on LinkedIn very, very rarely. So you're going to understand what you're posting and what to post. And my thing is like, just post. If it's personal, you understand what you want to post personally about yourself, and then throw in professional every now and then. But remember that statistic I gave you. Very few people post. So posting content is great. I just don't think you should worry about over posting and oversharing. I highly doubt you will do that. I hope that helps.
That was great. Thank you. Any other questions anyone has?
Cool.
What about like, how do you measure
Go
your
ahead.
matrix? Like how do you know that you're properly expanding your network by doing posts, and how do you measure that?
I mean, the one thing with LinkedIn is it's not going to go quite as viral as let's say TikTok. So I would kind of try not to measure yourself on the number of likes and the number of reshares that you get initially. I think that's part of the consistency of posting content. And every now and then you're going to see something go viral. Let's say go viral, have like 10,000 or 15,000 people look at it. You get post metrics on the back end. Anytime you post, LinkedIn gives you metrics on who's seen it and how many people have seen it. But I mean, I think it's just a matter of, are you growing your network in the way that you want to grow. Um, and the consistency of posting content will grow your network more quickly. And then also, when I'm coaching people, I'm like, put in your calendar that you're going to do 5 connection requests a week. That's it. 5 connection requests a week. How long does it take you to do that? It takes maybe a minute or 2 minutes or 15 minutes. The other thing is like, if you want to start growing your network and want to see increase on LinkedIn, it's carving out time to be on LinkedIn. And that's the big thing. I'm on TikTok way too much. And so instead of being on TikTok, every now and then, maybe I should be flipping through LinkedIn instead of TikTok. That's what I would do. And you'll be amazed at the difference.
That's great advice. I definitely know that by putting some time on your calendar, then you're more than
Yeah,
likely have a better opportunity to do it. Sam, go
for
ahead.
sure.
Question?
Yes, another feature I'd love for you to talk about, Ryan, the LinkedIn stories or lives that are now part of the feature. Any thoughts or philosophy on those?
LinkedIn Live.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they have like a kind of like a story type feature now, like that you see with
Yes.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's on the app. Like the story is on the app, and it's really cool because when you're, I'm actually looking at my phone right now to see it. Um, so LinkedIn Live is kind of harder to get into. You have to get approved for LinkedIn Live, and I don't think that's a bad idea either, especially as an academic institution. I think there are going to be fewer barriers and fewer hoops for you to go to get LinkedIn Live. And initially when it rolled out, it was really well received, and there were a lot of people looking at it. So if you can do something like that for your event, go for it. There's no cost to it, and it helps increase the brand. So for sure. LinkedIn on the mobile device, they are moving to like the story model and the TikTok model. The interest, real quickly, we only have a few minutes left. The irony is that it took a Chinese company like TikTok to democratize social media in a way that had never been done before. And so I'll explain really quickly. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn all follow the same model, which is when I post content, only people in my feed see my content. That's it. The only way people outside of my feed see my content is if they search for it and find it, hashtags, or you enough people like it and it goes on their feed, and then their people see it and they like it. That's how every single platform works except for TikTok. TikTok does not care about your network. When you post content on TikTok, they will send that. They have an algorithm. They send it to 20 or 30 people they think will like the content. And if they like the content, they send it to 250 people and so on and so forth. And so you can have one person in your network on TikTok. And if you are great, you have great content, you can have millions of people see it. LinkedIn is now in their stories. They're now following the TikTok method. So and that's a newer feature. So if you can post a story and that's a video only on your phone, it will actually go outside of your network. So that's the benefit, Sam. I hope that helps.
Very helpful. Thanks.
Yeah.
We probably have time for one last question real quick before we wrap up. Does anybody have any questions for Ryan?
How do you keep current on some of the algorithm changes and new features with LinkedIn?
I mean, they're changing very rapidly. For me, I just was working at the company, and so I still know, and I have folks there, but you just have to kind of do research. I mean, ChatGPT's out there and does a lot with ChatGPT, so I'd be asking a large language model to do some research for me and see what's new. But that's really the only way. LinkedIn doesn't do a really good job of advertising it, to be honest with you.
Thank you for that, Ryan.
Cool, no
All right.
problem.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and talents with us today, Ryan. It was such great information, and I'm excited to implement some of it on my very outdated LinkedIn profile. For
Problem.
those, for those of you who would like to review the presentation, and for those of you who weren't able to join us, this session will be recorded and will be available to view on the CSU plus UC EPN intranet. Give us about 48 hours before we post that content. June's hot topic, which will take place on June 26th at 11 a.m., will be smart event planning, leveraging event management apps for success. So check your email to sign up and spread the word. And again, thank you so much for your time today, Ryan, and thanks everybody for joining us.
My pleasure. Take care, everybody.